Hey friends, this is Karen from Blue Rooster Farm, and today we are getting ready. Well, I guess I should say tonight, it's dark out. We are getting ready to open up our February sampler box. It is a sewing box subscription that comes from Fat Quarter Shop, and we're going to see what's in it. So if you are receiving one of these and you don't want to see what's in it, I would not watch this just yet. Also, after we finish opening up the sampler box, we are going to talk about some of the finishes we've made and some of the things that we've done. I've got a freebie to share with you, and also at the very end of this, I have a tutorial for a cute little 5-inch finished butterfly block. So if you're interested in any of these things, stick around. Thanks for sticking around, and I'm going to apologize before we get started for my voice. I have a cold and I am trying to fight this thing, but it's kind of in my chest and in my throat, so it does make my voice crack, and I apologize. I have my water. I just sucked on a Ludens, so hopefully I can maintain my voice until the end of this video, but I apologize ahead of time. I do need to get this done, so I'm plowing ahead. Well, today we're opening up our Sampler February 2026 quilt box, and this is a subscription box from Fat Quarter Shop, an online only store, and it comes out monthly. It costs $29.95 plus shipping, and I believe it probably is your best deal for the money. Usually you have about double the value in this box. I will also, toward the end of the opening, put in somewhere up here the value of this box if you were just to purchase these things separately at Fat Quarter Shop. So like I said, they always have a really good value, and it's fun to get new things, new notions and things like that that I normally wouldn't buy. And so when I have the box, I get to have those things. Now you may notice it is dark outside, and I had planned on doing this video this morning, but because of technical difficulties with my camera, I fought with it all day trying to get it hooked up, and for some reason it is not connecting to my monitor. So I am just using my iPhone, and we're just going to do it like this, and hopefully everything will be great. But it is late, so we're going to get this done. So first of all, let me go ahead and get this open. And in this box, we have our cardboard insert saying Milk and Meadows. And then it looks like there's a farmhouse sitting in the prairie. February 2026. And then on the back, you never want to throw this card away. You want to look at the back to see if there's a coupon that you want to keep on here. And this one is for 15% off layer cakes. It is for Sampler subscribers only, so that's a nice one, and it will last through the end of March. Then they also use the fabric that comes in this box in another quilt that you might want to make instead of the project that they have in here. And so this pattern is available to anyone, and it is called the Jolly Bar Bakewell Quilt. And it takes 20 layer cake squares. And here's what it looks like. They have just colored it in the fabric that we're getting in this box. And that looks like a fun one to make. Very pretty. Then they talk about things that are going on with some sew-alongs. And the one they're talking about here is the Quilt With Us. It says, dig out your needles from those haystacks and join us for a farm-tastic time with the Farmyard Friends Sew-Along, hosted by Fat Quarter Shop. Designed by Lori Holt of Bee in My Bonnet, this barnyard-inspired quilt pattern will have you making hay with her farmer's daughter fabric from April through May 2026. And this one you would have to purchase the pattern, but they do a sew along, and I think Lori Holt is probably making these blocks on her site. So let me cover up that coupon there. And that is what the quilt looks like. Very cute. Lori Holt has some really cute patterns. Speaking of the sew-alongs, Fat Quarter Shop just started their Socialites sew-along, and they have done this, I believe, 2 other times, and this is their 3rd time. And in this sew-along, they're providing free patterns for a number of really cute blocks, and they're doing a block a week. For each block, they have 3 cutting sizes. One is a 3-inch block, one's a 6-inch block, and I believe the other is a 9-inch block. Gina Tell from Thread Graffiti is doing the 3-inch blocks. Kimberly Jolly from Fat Quarter Shop is doing the 6-inch block, and Pat Sloan is doing the 9-inch block. And so you can see these blocks put together, and you can find these free block patterns on Fat Quarter Shop. Just go to the search bar and search Socialites 3 Quilt Along, and it will come up, and there's like information packets and then the sewing blocks that are free. And so those are really nice to have if you want to make the whole quilt, or if you just want to use a few of the quilts to make a runner or add to something that you're making. You can use single blocks for a lot of things, so I plan on using a few too. I am a Fat Quarter Shop affiliate, and I do have links in the description box below if you would like to purchase the Sew Sampler, or if you would like to purchase anything. Once you click on one of those links, it takes you to her store, and then anything you put in your cart, I will get a very small percentage of the total sales. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does help my channel, and I really do appreciate it. I do purchase my own Sew Sampler box, and I have for many, many, many years. And so that's why I asked to be an affiliate, because I was very happy with their customer service and their products. So I hope that you also are able to get your own Sew Sampler box, because they are fun to open. Let's get to opening what's inside here. So the first thing we're going to look at is a Creative Grids ruler. It's always fun to get a ruler, especially Creative Grids. They are a higher priced ruler, but they are really good rulers. And this is a tiny one. Usually when we get a ruler in our box, it is for using with a pattern or something that is in this box. So we'll see if that's true this time. And I am having a hard time getting this out. It is just perfectly in that bag. All right, this looks like it is a 2.5 by 1.5 rectangular ruler. Isn't that cute? And let me read about it. We also have in our box information about each item, and it also gives the total regular value, the retail price of it. So let me find it. Here it is. 1.5 by 2.5 inch Creative Grids ruler. It says, say hello to the Creative Grids 1.5 by 2.5 inch quilt ruler, a small but steady companion for peaceful sewing days. Its clear acrylic body and crisp black markings make measuring and trimming feel simple and precise. A handy 45-degree line keeps angles tidy, while the signature gripper backing holds fabric securely to prevent slipping and miscuts. It is especially handy for working with the small pieces in the 6-inch vintage Milkmaid Star Quilt Block foundation paper, gliding smoothly when guided and staying put when it matters most. So I think we got a hint there. I think we may be getting vintage Milkmaid Star Quilt Block foundation paper. We'll see. And I do like these. They do have the grippy backs. I have a, let me see if I've got it here. Yeah. I have a rectangular one that is 2.5 by 4.5, and I really like it. And they say it has those 45-degree marking lines, and I know you can't see it on this. Let me see. But those are really nice when they crisscross like that at the bottom to get your 1/4 inch seam allowance on a point. That makes it really handy. I use this one right here a lot. So this is going to come in handy too. And did I tell you the value? The value of that ruler is $9.49. So they are more expensive, but they are nice. All right. The next thing I see here is our Olfa Endurance blades, and we can always use these. We usually get some of these every year, maybe yearly or twice a year, and I love it because I don't normally purchase the Endurance blades. They're quite pricey. They are $13.48 each, and so I usually find the cheaper ones, but these do last a long time, and I really do like them. Let's see what it says. Let me get a drink here. It says, like slicing butter on a farmhouse table, the Olfa Endurance 45mm rotary blade makes cutting feel smooth and satisfying. Crafted from special quality steel, this blade stays sharp longer and glides effortlessly through cotton, wool, paper, and more. Designed to last up to twice as long as standard blades, it delivers clean, confident cuts while reducing drag, slipping, and miscuts along the way. It fits all Olfa 45mm rotary cutters and lets you enjoy the simple pleasures of a job well done. And so that's a 45mm Olfa Endurance rotary blade, value $13.48. So that is nice, very useful. Now I do have a rotary blade sharpener. I got it probably 7-8 years ago. And sometimes I do pull that out and it will give me a little bit extra time on a blade, but a brand new blade is always better than an old one. And I don't know why I don't change my blades more often, because once you change it, it's like, why have I not changed this sooner? And everybody out there is probably thinking, yeah, we're like that too. All right, the next thing I have here, this is the vintage Milkmaid Star 6-inch quilt block foundation paper. And when I saw this come out recently, I thought that is the cutest block. And I really liked that. It makes 6-inch blocks, and it's just foundation paper piecing. And let's see here. So each block, I wonder if you need 4 sheets for each block. You may. Does it say 42 sheets per pad? One pad will make 10 vintage Milkmaid Star blocks. So it looks like you're going to be using several of these papers for just one block. And it makes 6-inch blocks. And I think this comes in different sizes as well. Let's read about it. This charming little star comes straight from the heart of the countryside, a revival of a beloved vintage block. The 6-inch vintage Milkmaid Star Quilt Block foundation paper, that's a mouthful, brings a calming sense of comfort to your sewing. Think sunny afternoons, simple pleasures, and creativity humming along happily. These foundation papers make paper piecing feel relaxed and approachable, so you can focus on choosing sweet fabrics and enjoying the process. Each of these pads costs $13.98. Very nice. I knew that they were fairly expensive for the number of blocks, so it's nice to have those. All right, it looks like it's time for the fabric. And we have 10-inch square Farmer's Daughter fabric by Lori Holt. And this is really pretty. And I will put right here a image of all the fabric in this collection. We have some low volumes. Looks like we have some reds. I'm not even gonna hold it up too close to you. Some teals, lots of teals. Some oranges with reds in them. I see some greens over here. Some greens. Very vintagey, is that a word? Vintage looking fabrics. I love the colors. So right here you can see all of them. Oh, and this one actually has hens on it. This pink one. So cute. Wonder if they have other colors with, they have grays with the hens on it too. Very nice. Lots of florals. Very pretty. I like her fabric. Let's see what the pattern is. This is called Butter Churn Table Runner Pattern. And it is using our Milkmaid Star foundation paper. So this needs your junior 10-inch stackers, which is our 10-inch cuts of fabric, and it's got 24 pieces in it. And we'll also need our foundation paper. For the background, you'll need 7/8 of a yard, and for the binding, you will need 3/8 of a yard. And for the backing, 3/4 of a yard. And then they're using the zigzag trim, that rickrack type trim, and you need 3 yards of that. I think they're using it on their binding. Let's see what we've got here. It is going to measure, when it is finished, 16.5 inches by 28.5 inches. So these cute little blocks right here are going to be very dainty. So very cute. I can see myself making that. I won't use the rickrack. Yeah, the rickrack is on the binding. I won't be using that. But, you know, I just thought of something. Our Mennonite store has lots of bolts of rickrack now. They may have a real big one. I'm gonna have to check it out and see. I will check that out. All right, and then the last thing we have in the box is our monthly block for the sew along or actually it's a quilt along called Flowering that we're doing this year. And it is called Apple Blossom of My Eye block. Isn't that cute? It's got the star in the middle and then the petals on the outside. And I am not making this right now, but sometimes once the quilt is made, I look at it and say, yeah, I think I'm gonna make that. But so far I have not started. I don't have the time. Let's see, this one's very basic. Stitch and flip corners. Let's see, do they use? And then you have some flying geese, which is just the stitch and flip method. Okay, so very cute. That's a cute flower. And you know, you don't have to do the quilt along. You can just use these blocks for something else, and that's nice to have them. I a lot of times will just take the blocks and make my own thing with them, and that makes it fun. So let me read about okay, so I'm getting behind on reading about each of these products. So let's do the Farmer's Daughter Junior 10-inch stackers. It is a value of $24.98. It says, wander through a sweet country daydream with Lori Holt. The Butter Churn Farmer's Daughter Junior's 10-inch stacker feels like early mornings at the barn and sunny afternoons in blooming fields. Soft florals, playful hens, and a warm vintage palette bring each print to life with plenty of nostalgic charm. These 24 bright fabrics are lovely for quilts, table runners, and of course the Butter Churn quilt pattern by Lori Holt in this month's box. Then the value again is $24.98. And then for the Butter Churn Table Runner pattern, it says the Butter Churn Table Runner pattern brings warm, fresh charm to your sewing space, inspired by the simple beauty of days gone by. Vintage Milkmaid star blocks are arranged into a cheerful table runner that feels right at home besides fresh flowers, baked breads, and morning sunshine. Thoughtfully pieced and full of cozy detail, Lori Holt's Butter Charm Table Runner finishes at 16.5 by 28.5 inches, making it just right for a small table, sideboard, or a sewing nook. Value is $9.98. And then that last pattern for the Flowering Quilt Along block. It says this month's Flowering Quilt Block is ready to bloom. Let your creativity run wild as this sampler quilt sprouts into a true forget-me-not, stitch by stitch. If you missed one, all Flowering Block patterns will be available at Fat Quarter Shop. A value is $4.98. All right, so there is the box. We have the fabric, we have the pattern, we have the monthly block, we have our foundation paper, our Endurance Olfa blade, and our cute little Creative Grids rectangular ruler. What do you think of this box? I really like it. I don't think there's been a box that I haven't liked lately, so this one is especially nice because everything in here I will use. So let's see. I am going to straighten up right here, and then we're going to come back and just go over a few things. And I've got a freebie for you, and I'll let you know what it is. I'll be right back. So I am back with the things that we have been working on since our last Sew Sampler box. And because we've been working on the one big heart quilt, we don't have as much finished as what we usually do, but I do like to go over some of the things that we finished this month. And the first thing is the snowman bed runner that we worked on. And I shared the snowman blocks, the snowflake blocks, and how to put this together with a wavy border. So if you've never done a wavy border, there's a video on how to do that. And I think it looks just really cute. It is the size for a full or a queen size bed. And then I put a label or a tag that I had, and this one matches the snowmen that I have on this quilt. And on the back it says, "Baby, it's cold outside." So there is one of our finishes, and I am ready to take this off the bed and get something more springy on it because I think winter's just about over. So then we worked on this big Home is Where the Heart Is quilt, and I just love this quilt. It is just finished. I haven't put it on the long arm yet, and it is with a selection of red fabrics, and I used Laundry Basket and Minnick & Simpson fabrics, and I think it turned out really cute. One block is just the heart block with the heart inside, and one is the heart block with the house inside. And I'll put a picture up here so that you can see what the whole thing looks like. But it turned out so cute. And this is a really big quilt, so you could even put a border on it to make, it would probably easily make it a king size if you put a nice big border on it. But this one I'm really happy with, and I will get it on the long arm soon. My long arm I have to do by hand manually. I don't have the computer, so we'll see if I can get it quilted up soon. I don't know. So much going on right now. Also, on this quilt, I gave you a choice of 3 little blocks to use for the cornerstones, and I used the pinwheel cornerstone. And let me see if I can get a good spot for you here. So I used this as a cornerstone, but you had a choice of a heart or an uneven 9 patch that I shared with you. And of course you could use whatever you wanted. But with the heart block, I made my February pin cushion, and I think it turned out really cute. And I have a tag on it with the little pink sewing machine, and it says handmade with love. And you have this tag if you downloaded it from a past video, but I'm not sure which video it is. If I come up with it, I'll put it in the description box, but it was from probably about a month ago. Now, if you remember, last year we were making bunny blocks, and I shared this pattern with you, and we made it into a pillow, or you could make it into whatever you wanted to. But I started making a bunch of these blocks. In the original pattern, it was just all, the bunny was all one solid, or not one solid, but one fabric. And I saw that you could easily turn this into a jacket by changing this cut right here to a different fabric and this cut to a different fabric. So I just started making them with little jackets on them. And this is Tilda's Sunday brunch, I believe. I think that's what it is, Sunday brunch. And I also used Essex linen for all the solids. And so I decided I would make something with these bunny blocks. And so I started making a bunch of the bunny blocks. And I've been working on a few recently because this is the time of year for spring quilts. And so I think these were turning out really cute. But I thought, you know, I think I'd like to have a butterfly in this project, whether it's going to be a bed runner or a quilt or a wall hanging or whatever. I'm not sure what I'm going to make yet. But I designed a quilt block with a butterfly in it, and I thought I would just make it, and this was kind of my testing pattern. I would just make it like that, just put the butterfly in and then sash it with fabrics to fill in. And so I could use that. I'll probably turn this one into another pillow or maybe a table topper. But so that's what I've been working on. And since I was working on this, I thought maybe you would like to have a free pattern on a butterfly. And so if you watch to the very end of this video, you will have a little tutorial with cutting instructions and how to piece this, and it goes together really quickly. But it's a cute little block to put in to some other project, or make several of them and make a baby quilt or something like that. That would be cute. So that is the bunnies that I'm working on currently, and I probably won't get those done this year, but it's fun to work on them during the season. Then, let's see, I was wanting to share these with you sooner. So here's the freebie that you're getting today. I think it was the last Sew Sampler. I asked if you guys would be interested in these dividers for your patterns that you get with Sew Sampler. I had just made these for myself, and this is chocked full of all the patterns I have from Sew Sampler, because I've been receiving the Sew Sampler box for so many years. But I know that whenever I need a pattern, a lot of times I have a special cut of fabric. Like I'll have charm squares or something. It's like, what can I make with these charm squares? Well, I just decided to sort my patterns by what fabric cut they required in order to make them. And that way, if I have a charm pack and I want to know something that I could make with it, I could easily go and pull out all the patterns that Fat Quarter Shop has shared and find something in this great little bundle here. And that way I have everything nicely set up and easy to find. So people, when I asked, are you interested in these? If you are, I could change it into a shareable PDF download. And I had an overwhelming yes to that. So in your description box below today, you can pick these up. I've printed these on cardstock and then laminate them just to make them nice and sturdy. They are full-size sheets that you cut down, so you might be able to use them in a binder as well. I'm not sure how that would work for you, but those are free, and help yourself with that in the description box below. Remember, in order to download those, you do need to have some sort of PDF reader on your device, and Adobe is a free one, and that will download and allow you to print those off. And so I believe that is everything that we have worked on this past month. And I know it's going to be busier as the months get closer to summer. And so I'm just enjoying these last couple of cold months, trying to get as much of my projects as I need to get done. I have a neat project that I want to share with you. I just need to make the tutorial. I had made this last year, actually wanting to share with you this tutorial, but I haven't had a chance, so I'm going to be making another one of these things that I'm going to be sharing with you and making a tutorial as I make it, and I hope that you enjoy that one, and it will be coming out soon. So I think it'll be a fun one. I think you'll enjoy it. So I hope you are all doing well. I hope you don't have these colds like I have. My husband Andy had some kind of a bug last week that was a little different than what I have, so we're both kind of down, but we're getting better. But I hope that you guys are well. I hope that you're enjoying sewing in your sewing room, and if you're interested in that butterfly block, just keep on watching. Hey guys, I'm bringing you into the sewing room today because I want to show you how to make this cute little butterfly block that I just finished designing. And I was designing it for a project that I am working on, but it's an easy little block, and I thought some of you might want to have a little butterfly block as well. And what I was using it for was, last year I had designed this bunny, and I was making a little project with these bunnies that I had made last year, and I decided to put a butterfly instead of the carrot with some of these blocks. And so this is what I came up with, and I thought it looked really cute. So I think I'll be turning this into a pillow or a mat or something like that, because this was kind of my test block, and I've got the other blocks in the Tilda fabric that I'm using to make something with. But this is what the butterfly looks like with the bunny block. And if you're interested in that bunny block, I will certainly put a link in the description box below from last spring when I did a tutorial on it. So in order to make this, you are going to need these cuts of fabric. So I'm just going to hold this here, and you can take a screenshot, or you can freeze it and write it down, or take a picture of it. And I'm going to try to put it also in the frame as well. I don't know if it will be visible in the frame or not, but I'll try to put a picture of it in the frame as we sew. And then here is the layout for it. And again, you can just take a screenshot, take a picture, or just come back to it whenever you're sewing. Okay, so I've got my cuts, and there's not very many pieces that you're going to need for this. It's really quite basic. So, and this is Tilda fabric, and it was from Sunday Brunch from last year, and I think it's a real pretty line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 2A pieces and put them up here. Those are the 2 top wings, and then I'm going to put the 2 bottom wings right down here. Now, be sure you have these laid out correctly. They are not squares. They are just about a 1/4 or a 1/2 inch off. I can't remember. Let's see. They are just a 1/4 inch off from being a square. But actually, they are a rectangle that is long this way. And you can tell which way you have if it's right. If you just match up, these 2 should be the same length. Or width, I guess I should say. So we're going to lay it out just like that. Then we're going to take D, and D you have 4 cuts, and these are just squares, and those are all going to go on the outside corners, but the ones on the bottom, they're going to go at the top. The ones at the wings at the top, they're going to go at the bottom. And that is just making this intersection here where those 2 wings meet. Then we're also going to need Fs, and these Fs are going to go right here, and right here, and down here, and down here. And you can see on the drawing Fs and Fs. They're the ones next to the body. And then the E's are the real tiny 1-inch pieces, and we're going to need 2 of those for our wings, and the other 4 are going to be for the body. So I'll just keep those right there with the body. And since we're working with small pieces, I'm not going to pin these. I'm going to put some Elmer's glue, because these are just the stitch and flip blocks. And so I'm going to put in the corners a little bit of this Elmer's washable school glue, just basic washable school glue, because these are going to be cut off. These corners will be cut off. Now, it would be all right if they stayed on, because this is washable and it would come right out of your fabrics. And so I'm going to put all of these squares on just by putting a dab of Elmer's washable school glue in each of the corners. Now, if you have seam tape, once you have this done, you can just take this directly to your sewing machine, and you can sew from corner to corner on these little squares. But if you don't have seam tape, we'll need to draw some diagonal lines. And I do have seam tape, and I will be using it, but I'll draw a few of these diagonal lines for you. So I'm going to bring you down a little bit. So all you need is a straight edge and some kind of a marking tool. A pencil, just a plain pencil would work. I wouldn't use a felt tip marker because it will bleed through. And this is the stitch line. And so you don't want your stitch lines to have a line that's bled through and where you would see it. But a friction pin would work great. This is just a pin that will disappear with air. And all I'm doing is going from corner to corner, just like this. And I would do the same for the other wings, but since I have the seam tape, I'm just going to mark these. So I will let you take a look at that. And I'm going to take all 4 of these squares to my machine, and I am going to sew each one. Now, I could chain piece these and send each one through individually, but really when I'm doing a small square like this, I like to do the whole square at one time. So I will probably start right here, stitch right on that line, give myself some thread, put my presser foot back over here, stitch down, then feed through this one and stitch, pivot, stitch, give myself a little thread and pivot and so forth. That way I will get all of them done really quickly. So let me do that. Let me go stitch on these lines and then I will bring you right back. Okay, I've got those stitched, and I highly recommend that you kind of keep them in the right position, because it is really easy to get it confused and accidentally sew it in the wrong spot. So if you've kept them in the same position, it helps out. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip these back, and when we do, we want to make sure that this fabric is covering whatever is the background there. And if they all look okay, what we will do is we will cut that background fabric out. If you have one that doesn't cover it up, you will probably just need to take it out and restitch it. If it's just off by a tiny bit and the seam allowance will take care of it, I wouldn't worry about it. So I'm just trimming those down to 1/4 inch away from that seam allowance. And making sure I've got those in the right spot. And again, check before you cut. Okay, so like this one right here, it's not off by much. You can see it doesn't quite cover up right there. And it's okay because that will be taken in on the 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I won't worry about that one. Those all look good. Okay, so what I'll do is I will press these. And when I press these, because I have it laid out here still, I can tell I want these to be going opposite directions. So if this one is going toward the background fabric, I want this piece, I want the seam allowance to go toward the butterfly wing. Because when we piece these together, we want them to nest so that we get a nice good point right here. And so if I press it correctly, that will help. And the same thing here, I'll press this one toward the background, and this one right here, I will press toward the wing. And that way they will nest when we piece these two wings together. Okay, so and these back here won't matter because there's nothing that's going to meet up with these points or these points. Because as you can see, in this right here, these points right here on the butterfly's body do not match the points on the wing, and it doesn't match down here either. So these are the ones that you just need to worry about folding or pressing correctly. I'll do that and be right back. Okay, they're all pressed, and now what we need to do is just take these two pieces, flip them so they're right sides together. Again, these two seams are going to nest really nicely. And let me grab some pins. And I'm just going to put a pin right here where they meet. And my ends meet just fine. Now, if your ends didn't meet fine, you could put a pin at each end, and then whichever side is loose could go down toward your feed dogs. Mine should be all right. Then we'll do the same thing over here. We will put those right sides together, make sure those seams nest right there, and put a pin when they're nested. And my ends meet just fine. So I'm going to go to the sewing machine and just sew a 1/4 inch away from that edge. And there I have those sewn together, and I just pressed up toward the top wing. You can press whichever direction you want because there's nothing going to match that seam right there. All right, so let's set these right here because now we need to work on the butterfly's body. And so we need E's and the C. And so what we're gonna do is we are going to take the body C and start with 1 square at the top and 1 square at the bottom. And again, I use a little bit of Elmer's school glue, and I am going to put it in this corner right here, and I will put it in, it doesn't really matter, I'll just go this corner right here. It doesn't matter which one you put on first. Then I will take my straight edge and my marking tool, and since my glue is right here, I will have that the part that we cut off. So I just need to draw my line right there, and then my glue is up here. And so I will draw my line right here. I will take this to the sewing machine and I will sew directly on those 2 lines, and I'll be right back. And I have got that, and I went ahead and I pressed it, and now we just need to trim off that background fabric. Now we need to take the other 2 E squares, and we need to do the same thing. We need to place it right on top, just like this. Only this time we'll put a little bit of glue in this corner. And even though I pressed it, it's wanting to pop up. So we'll put a little bit of glue right there. That's going to be trimmed off. And then we'll put a little bit of glue right here. And this one's gonna go right on top, just like that. Now this time we will make our angles the opposite direction that we went last time. So this time I need to make my line go this direction. And this one, there we have it right there. So I need to have it going this direction. So just watch that and make sure you've got it going the right direction. Then I'll take this to my sewing machine and I will sew directly on both of those lines. So there we have our butterfly's body, and I went ahead and pressed and then trimmed a 1/4 inch away from that seam and this seam. And so now we are ready to sew the wings on. So what we're gonna do is just make sure that we have it laid out correctly first. We certainly don't want it to be put together like this. So be sure you've got both of them going in the right direction. And then we're going to put right sides together with this side, one side or the other. And again, there's nothing that's going to be matching. No seams are matching. So I just match up my top corner and my bottom corner. And then decide if one of those sides is looser. That looks about the same. So I'll just put a pin in the middle just to keep them even with that edge, and I will sew a 1/4 inch away from that edge. And I have this one sewn on just like that. I haven't pressed it yet. So now we'll do the same thing with this one. We'll just put it right sides together. Again, nothing is matching, just the top and bottom corners. And I will sew this one a 1/4 inch away from this edge. And here is my finished butterfly block, and I think it turned out really cute. Here is a block that it might go with. And again, this is Tilda fabric. It was the Sunday brunch from last year. This is Essex linen that I have for the background. And so I would put it somewhere there and then just put fabric to fill it in. And so I think that turned out really cute. So if you're interested in making this block, you have all the instructions and the cutting directions, and I hope you enjoy it.
If you are new to my channel and are not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate that. Also, don't forget to like and share and comment. Those would all help my channel out a lot. I hope everyone has a great week, and as always, I hope to see you back here next time. Bye-bye.